Welcome to Mode Bespoke. I'm Atenas. For today's tutorial, I'm going to teach you how to crochet a stitch called the Solomon's Grid. So let's get started. We're going to begin today's stitch by making a slip knot. So to make a slip knot, you're going to wrap the yarn around 2 fingers, and then you're going to insert your hook into this loop you've just made, so right behind this loop. You're going to grab the yarn behind it, and you're going to pull that through. Pull up a loop, and then you can move your fingers away from the knot, and all you do to tighten it is just pull on these 2 threads right below, pull on them individually to tighten the knot. Alright, now this stitch is crocheted in multiples of 4, so 4, 8, 12, 16, and so forth. Any number you want, so long as it is a multiple of 4. So to make a chain, you're going to yarn over. Now to yarn over, you're going to wrap the yarn around your hook, and you're going to pull this back loop through the front loop. So that is 1 chain. So yarn over, pull through, that's 2, yarn over, pull through, 3, yarn over, pull through, and that is 4. So continue to crochet a chain in multiples of 4, and I will see you again here in just a moment. Alright, so I've crocheted a chain in multiples of 4, so I made 16 stitches. Once you've got your multiples, you're going to chain 3 additional stitches. So we're going to chain 1, 2, and then 3. Alright, so once you complete your foundation chain, it's time to work the Solomon's Grid. Now, the Solomon's Grid is made up of 2 stitches. The first one is a Solomon's knot, which we're going to crochet here in just a second, and then a double crochet. So to make the Solomon's knot, you're going to pull up this chain that you have on your hook. So the loop right here, you're going to pull up on your hook, and you're going to double the size of your loop. So this one you can adjust it later on, but for this practice, double it. And now you're going to put a finger right here between the loop on your hook and your working yarn. This is just a placeholder to help you retain the stitch. Alright, now you're going to yarn over, and you're going to pull that top loop through the bottom loop, or the last loop through the first loop, however you want to see it. So once you've got your stitch made, it's going to look like this. And now you're going to have to move your finger, and you replace it with your hook. So slowly pull your finger out of the stitch and replace that with your hook. So insert your hook into this space right here, and then you're going to yarn over. You're going to pull up a loop, and once you have 2 loops on your hook, you're going to close the stitch like you would a single crochet. So you're going to yarn over, and you're going to pull through those 2 loops. There you go, tighten it up, and there is a Solomon's knot. So now, to complete the grid, we're going to have to skip 6 stitches. We're going to work into stitch number 7. So skip 6, go to stitch number 7, and you're going to double crochet in that stitch. The knot does not count. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and in stitch number 7, double crochet. So you're going to yarn over, and you're going to insert your hook into stitch number 7, so right in here, and then you're going to yarn over and pull up a loop. So to complete the double crochet, you're going to yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops right here on your hook. So yarn over and pull through these 2 loops. So there's 1, 2, and then you're going to yarn over and pull through the 2 remaining loops on your hook. There you go. And that's it. So you've got your Solomon's knot and a double crochet. Now, to continue with the rest of the stitch, you no longer have to chain 3. Now you just go directly into a Solomon's knot. So the stitch is Solomon's knot, double crochet, Solomon's knot, double crochet. So let's make another Solomon's knot. For this, you're going to pull up on your hook so you can double the size of the loop. So let me show you in this angle, like that. Once you've pulled up on your loop, you're going to place your finger right here between the stitch and your working yarn. Again, this is just a placeholder. The more you practice, you won't have to do this step anymore. But place your finger here to hold the stitch, And you're going to yarn over and you're going to slip stitch. So pull that top loop through the bottom loop. Once you've got that done, you're going to replace your finger with the hook. So pull your finger out of the stitch really slowly and insert your hook. So as you can see, there's a loop right here. You need to go between that loop and the chain, which is the top part of the stitch. So right in this space. So don't crochet into the stitch itself, or you will pull out the stitch you just crocheted. All right, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop. Once you have 2 loops on your hook, you are going to yarn over and pull through both of those loops. And there's your single crochet. So your knot is done. And now you're going to skip 3 stitches. So it's 1, 2, 3, and on the 4th stitch, you are going to double crochet. So we're going to yarn over, and then you're going to insert your hook into the 4th stitch. So skip 3 chains, go to stitch number 4, insert your hook, and then you're going to double crochet. So yarn over, pull up a loop, and when you have 3 loops on your hook, you're ready to finish your double crochet. And to do this, you are going to yarn over and pull through 2 loops, and then you're going to yarn over and pull through the 2 remaining loops on your hook. And there you go. So the rest of the stitch is going to go the same way. So you're going to make the knot, skip 3, double crochet, knot, skip 3, double crochet, and that's all there's to it. So let's work together here. So we're going to extend our stitch, place our finger right here to hold our stitch. We're going to yarn over and slip stitch. And we're going to replace our finger with the hook. So we're going to place our finger right here. And then you're going to yarn over and you're going to pull up a loop. And now you just single crochet. We are going to skip 3 stitches and we're going to double crochet in the 4th. So here's stitch number 4, insert your hook into the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then we're going to yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. All right, we've got one last one left before we finish the row. So pull up your loop. So let's make this nice and tall. Place your finger right here between the stitch and your working yarn, yarn over and slip stitch. And now insert your hook right in that same stitch where your finger is. So let's move our finger, insert our hook into the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, and single crochet. So we're going to yarn over and pull through 2. And since this is the last stitch, you should only have 3 stitches to skip right here, and that last stitch should be stitch number 4. So yarn over, insert your hook into that final stitch, pull up a loop here, and then finish your double crochet with a yarn over, pull through 2. There we go. And yarn over, pull through 2. And there we go. That is the first row of our Solomon's grid. So once you get the hang of it, it is quite easy. So let's start our next row, because this is just a 1 row repeat. So once you've passed this part, the rest of it is cake. So chain 3. So at the beginning of every row, you're just going to chain 3. There's 1, 2, 3. You're going to turn your work around, and we're going to begin with a Solomon's knot. So we're going to skip this whole section and we're going to double crochet into this next stitch. So since you don't have any more chains to skip, you're just going to skip each of the Solomon's knot and double crochet into each of the double crochets of the previous row. So the end is a little bit different, but we'll cover that as soon as we get there. So we're going to make a Solomon's knot to line up with that Solomon's knot that we did at the beginning of the previous row. So let's extend our stitch, and we're going to slip stitch right into that stitch right here. We're going to double crochet into the center of our knot, and then we're going to skip all of this, including that first Solomon's knot, and we're going to double crochet, not into this first double crochet, into this second one right here. So make sure you skip that first Solomon's knot from the previous row, and then double crochet into the double crochet of the previous row, like so that you stack up your knots like this. And now you just make another knot. So we extend the stitch, yarn over, slip stitch, single crochet into the center of the knot, and we're going to skip all the way to the next double crochet right over here, and that's where you're going to double crochet your next stitch. Oh, there you go. Be careful not to get caught on your other knots. All right, and that's it. That's all there's to it. It's quite simple from here on out. You just have to make sure to stack the knots one above the other. So I'll just finish these last few, and then I'll show you how to complete the end of the row, because that one is just a little bit different. So let me get this last double crochet here. All right, so once you're at that final stitch, so you've completed your last Solomon's knot, you're going to crochet that last double crochet in that topmost stitch. So right up here, the top stitch of the chain from the previous row. So that chain 3 we did at the beginning of the row, insert your hook into the top stitch. And that's where you complete your final double crochet. There we go. And that's it. So all you do now is just repeat the row we just finished. So row number 2. You repeat that over and over until you complete the length of work that you want. And once you've completed a few rows, your work is going to start to look like this. Now, to close out that final row of our stitch, we're going to do something a little bit different, but we're going to begin with a chain 1. There you go. And you're going to turn your work around. Now for this final row, we want to make the end as even, or the edge as even as we can. So what we're going to do is we're going to single crochet into the first 2 stitches, and we're going to single crochet 2 into each of the knots. So single crochet into each of those, and then 2 into the knot, and so forth until you finish the row. Your last single crochet is going to be in that last stitch of your chain 3, or the top stitch. All right, so we're going to single crochet in the first stitch, and then we single crochet in the next stitch. We're going to single crochet 2 into the knot, so right into this big space. So there's 1, and there's 2, and then we're going to single crochet in the next 2 stitches. So there's 1, 2, and then single crochet 2 into the knot. Now, if you are completing this, if you want the top end or the top little edge to match the bottom one, then all you would do is single crochet into the first stitch. You would chain 3 and then skip the Solomon's knot. So skip that whole top section and just go to the next double crochet. And that would make the top end match the bottom end. But that's it. I hope you give this stitch a try. We are going to be using it next week, so practice it as much as you can this week. For next week's project, you're going to have to be really, really, really familiar with this stitch because there might be some variation with it. So we're going to crochet a halter top bralette next week, and you might not have a perfect multiple of 4, so the more comfortable you are with this stitch, the easier it's going to be to complete next week's project. But give it a shot, let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Go check out my website if you want to get some free patterns, or you want to check out some stitch tutorials. And if you want to see more of my work, you can always follow me on Instagram. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all again next week.